Hi, my name is Beliana Atika Permatasari and I'm from English Education in the 6th semester, and I want to present about my poetry with the title Love Read in Prayer. So, FYI, this poetry conveys my feeling for someone I keep in my prayer, and I ever lost someone but I couldn't say it out loud, and I just keep in my heart or even in my prayer. So this is the poetry. A love wrapped in prayer. Not a love made of big words, not the kind that crashes like thunder, just soft rain on a tin roof, white, easy to miss, but it stays. It is the low sound of the night wind, felt in a hand raised to guard, in a hand that finds yours when everything is still. In a name spoken gently, long after the drug is gone. This love doesn't shout, it doesn't need to be seen. It moves through every prayer like a small flame that burns on, calm, warm, in a hurry to go out. So, don't hold me like lightning that comes bright and leaves fast. Hold me like the morning light, slow, sure, and full, the kind that still brings warmth on the coldest night. So I'll explain or analyze about the poetry that I've read. Um, so this poetry is actually about a very white kind of love. At the first, the writers tell us that love isn't something loud or dramatic, like thunder or lightning. Isn't about big words. Instead, it's something soft like rain on a roof. For me, the main idea is that love doesn't always need to be expressed directly. Sometimes when we can't say it, we keep in our prayers, and in this poetry, prayer becomes a place where love can stay. Alright, and then if we look at the emotion, the poetry feels very calm and warm. But at the same time, there is also a little bit of longing. It feels like the reader, the writer, loves someone deeply, but in a quiet and patient way. And then the poetry also use some figures of speech. For example, uh, love is compared to suffering, and this shows that love is gentle but still strong. There is also a comparison between lightning and morning light. And lightning is fast and disappears quickly, but morning light is slow and lasting. So, um, we can see the difference between temporary love and lasting love. The difference between love and lasting love, and then the poem used simple but strong words like rain, wind, and then flame and light. And this word help us imagine the feeling, and so we don't just understand the poetry, but we can also feel about the poetry. And then the tone of this poetry is really soft and thoughtful. Isn't dramatic, and that makes it feel more honest and real. And then the poetry also use simple word. There are no difficult or complicated word, but the meaning still deep, and that's why the poetry is uh, easy to understand but still meaningful. And then for the structure, the poetry use free verse, so it doesn't follow a fixed pattern. It feels natural, like someone is talking or even praying. And then about the stanza, This poetry has four stanza. The first stanza tells us that love isn't loud, and then the second stanza shows how love exists in small moments like prayer, and then the third stanza explains that this love is calm and doesn't need attention, and the last stanza shows what kind of love the writer wants, which is slow, sure, and lasting. And then this poem is a lyric poem because it talks about personal feeling. It is also a modern poetry because it uses free verse and simple language. So, in conclusion, this poetry teaches us that love doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes the deepest love is the one that stay quietly like a prayer. Alright, thank you. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.